Okay, looking at compound interest again. This time we're going to look at finding the principal. Finding the amount is usually the easiest. Finding the principal is probably the second easiest in terms of solving. Okay, so all we really need to do is P is your principal and it's attached to that 1 plus R over N, all raised to the NT. That's just some number. It's attached to the T by multiplication. So we're going to divide by it. So whatever all that junk is, we're going to divide both sides by it. Okay. And sometimes this is also called the present value. So your present value is equal to the amount over 1 plus R over N to the NT. And sometimes it is written without the fraction. So all that stuff in the denominator would get a negative exponent. So amount times 1 plus R over N and then to the negative NT is perfectly fine. If I want to put it in my calculator, A divided by, and then it's important to put parentheses, 1 plus R divided by N, caret, and then if I got more than one thing in the exponent there, like the NT, I'll know what that is because it'll be like 5 times 3 or whatever, so I'll just say 15. So I don't really need the parentheses, but if you want to be really careful, you should. If you have a fraction as your exponent, you definitely need to put those parentheses in, otherwise things are not going to go well. Okay, so that's how I enter in my calculator, and then this is called, sometimes called present value. So we're going to do an example of this, how would I find the principal, kind of a standard problem. So, they'll ask you how much should we invest or deposit now. So let's see. So how much should be invested today, so present value, at an interest rate of 7%, which is an amazing interest rate, compounded semi-annually. So semi-annually is going to be twice a year, to yield, or to have a final amount of $30,000 in 20 years. Okay. So I'm going to write down A, P, N, R, and the T. And then if you want to pause the video and go ahead and try to identify all those, that's one of the skills that you want to be able to develop, is what goes where. So I'll let you pause it now. Okay, so here's some things that I know. I know time is always going to be the years. The rate is going to be, R is going to be the rate, which is your interest rate as a decimal. The N is the number of compounds per year, so semi-annually is going to be 2. And then it's just the question about who's the amount and who's the principal. Well, here they're asking us how much should be invested today, so that's kind of like our initial amount, and the initial amount, or your starting amount, is the principal. So time is 20 years, interest rate is 0.07, semi-annually means twice, and then your amount is 30,000. So just go ahead and write down our formula, and then we will plug some stuff in. And there's our formula. 30,000 is equal to the principal, 1 plus 0.07 divided by 2, raised to the 2 times 20. Okay, so we're just going to divide by all that stuff attached to the P. Okay, notice that 2 times 20 is 40, so we are being efficient here. And then probably the most challenging part of this is probably putting it into your calculator and getting it out correctly. Okay, so it's going to be 30,000 divided by, parentheses, 1 plus 0.07 divided by 2, close parentheses, and then 40. Now, if you want to be extra safe, you can put parentheses around the 40. It's okay to leave it without the parentheses. It's when it's a fraction is when it's a big deal. that exponent is a fraction. Okay, and so plugging that into your calculator, you should get, let's see, 75, 77, and 17 cents. So that's how much we should invest today in this particular account, so that we will accumulate $30,000 in 20 years. Again, 7% is a fairly amazing interest rate.